Tell me. Hey, I see the finger. It's supposed to be a wave. Yep, he just waved. Okay, hey, I know we're live. I'm going to get rid of the stick. Woo! Did you miss us? We missed you. Okay, it's noon. It's Friday. This is Festool Live, and we're fresh back from vacation, or at least I am. Woo! Hello, LA. We had a great time out there. Great wedding. Congratulations to the wedding couple, Chester and Christina. Okay, so there you go. I wanted to mention that. That's my family. Okay, let's do introductions in the room right here because we got a heck of a topic today. We got Big D over here.
Hey, everybody.
We got right here behind the camera, we got Chris the Unit Cybert. Right, I remembered everybody's name. I didn't have to Google it. Right over here, we have Min Min. She's on the board, looking good. Down below, of course, hey, Sparky. Good man, good man. And, of course, we have Brent Shively online answering all your questions. And don't forget, on YouTube, to check out the Build with Brent series. It's really good. It's on YouTube. In conjunction with, don't forget to check out this. Festool Live will live on YouTube, but also Instagram, Facebook. But also, if you guys don't know yet, we also have Festool Shop Talk. Okay? It goes out on Instagram Live, and then we put it on Spotify, Apple, and about 100 other podcast platforms, so check that out. Okay. How much more? Okay, 2 more announcements. I just found out you guys already changed your time over in Europe. We are changing our time. It's daylight savings time. It's fall back. And a public service announcement to everybody here in the U.S. Don't forget to set your clocks back Saturday night. Okay? And also, I have been dying to announce this. November 19th. Yes, that is 2 Fridays from now. We will be doing a Festool Live. We're taking the crew there. There's a tool expo at Hattville Hardware. It's in Hattville, Ohio. Remember I said what's round on both sides and high in the middle? That's Ohio, and it's a tool expo. We are going to be doing a Festool Live from their stage on the first floor or ground floor, or I say the bottom floor. And also on the second floor is where the Festool booth is. And we'll have a couple sales managers there demoing for you. And the live crew will be up there after we do Festool Live. And we also have a presentation on Saturday, too. So, if you can't make Festool Live, come out on Saturday. The whole crew is going to be there as well. Whew! I think I covered that okay, guys? Okay, so I couldn't wait to do this Festool Live. Because this, to me, has been one of the number one, if not the number one question I have gotten all the years as a trainer at Festool about the track saw. To the point where I had somebody internally not too long ago ask me this exact same question. And as I went down and showed him, he went, "Oh, duh, you told me that years ago." Of course. So it's going to sound funny, but as I do this, I am going to cover a lot of technique and tips and tricks with the track saw and guide rail. In other words, the question has always been, I have a board that is less than the width of, and I'll do this in both metric and imperial, 185 millimeter or 7 1/4. It's less than that. In other words, people used to ask all the time when they came to cabinet class, right, is how do you rip your 50 millimeter stock out of a 5.5 inch board, which I get at a big box? How do I rip narrow stock, okay, for anything that is less than the width of this? And people would ask, and the other way of asking this question is, hey, I'm setting up shop, do I need a table saw? Well, everybody would always say in the early years at Festool, okay, we would, oh, yeah, you need a table saw to rip narrow stock. Not necessarily. Until we came out with the parallel guides, and I'll cover that. I covered it in episode 26. There's several killer videos online about it, okay? So as I step through this, I'll actually step through. I got these pine boards. I'm just going to give you some measurements so you can see them. It's a little more than 7 1/4, but by the time I'm done ripping these, I'll be balancing, or what you think you have to balance, okay, on a narrow piece. So just pay attention. All right. This is 200 millimeters wide, 8 inches wide. Okay. So what's the first thing you do to a board like this? Check out this edge, everybody. See that? Okay. You got to rip that clean. You got to straight line rip it. So I have my MFT set up. Okay. Yes, I always put a couple of stops back here. I just like using these. And I know, and as I step through this, I want to teach you a few things about clamping and not clamping. Okay. We're going to use what I'm really stoked about, because this is my go-to saw now. Yes, I have plenty of electricity in here, but I just think this is the cat's pajamas. This is the TSC 55 KEB. And the reason yes, it's cordless. Yes, I have it hooked to a dust extractor, which is plugged in. But what's wicked cool about it is the 1.8 millimeter thickness, or the kerf. Okay, this, and I'm going to rip a couple different boards with this. You're going to see how clean, but how efficient it makes this saw. It's my go-to saw now. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I like to straight line rip this board before I start ripping it in 50 millimeter increments. As I set up, you know what this is. I've covered it before. I'll probably cover it again next year. This is called a limit stop. I actually use it. My buddy Marvin showed me this. I actually use it to give me a quick reference for a cut, and it's about 6 millimeter offset. Okay, this goes on the rail, so when you're plunge cutting, but I use it just like this. And actually, I'm going to move my rail ever so slightly so you guys get a better view. I'm just going to reset it really quick. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to clamp this. Okay? And as I clamp this, okay, as I clamp this, watch. Chris, you're going to come in here. Now, you can clamp this to the material, but I'm actually going to clamp this right here also to the MFT. See that? Okay, that way there, the board doesn't move as I'm cutting. And I'm going to come over here. Now, there's a lot of people over the years that have come up to me and go, do you always clamp it? I go, no. But when I'm straight line ripping, I always try, especially when I'm doing some really, this is pine, this is Eastern white pine. But when I'm straight line lipping. Benny, did you hear that? I'm straight line lipping. Straight line ripping. I'm going to use clamps, okay? And I'm just going to put it right on here. And now this one, I'm just going to clamp right to the board, just like that. So there's a little clamping technique for you that I like to use. Cool. Everything cool, Big D? Beautiful. Okay, so I set my depth. I've showed you how to do that in previous videos. Okay, but what I'm going to do is I always want to make sure, look, that when I start the saw, I'm forward of the cut. I don't want to start into here. Okay, and I'm just going to start it. And I'm going to make my cut. And I'll tell you what, man, that dust extraction is also exceptional. You get about 96% on there. Okay, let's just throw that away. We're going to use some fire pit wood there. Okay, next, I'm going to take my clamps off. And I want to, hopefully we can zoom in on this, everybody. Big D, maybe you can get it from overhead. Look at this cut. There's not a single saw blade mark on there. It's exceptional, and that's a perfect jointed board. So I always tell people when they're buying the Festool track saw, and the only thing you use the only thing you use a jointer for in your shop is to get a jointed board on 3/4 or 1 inch, all right, or wait a minute, 20 millimeter or 25 millimeter. Okay, guess what? The track saw is the perfect straight line ripping tool to join boards for panels. Okay, now I have this board here, and I want to get consistent, repetitive 50 millimeter rips, 2-inch rips. How do you do that with the Festool system? Well, I think you already know, because in episode 26 I showed you how to calibrate and how to set up the parallel guides. Well, I have them set up already. I was going through this yesterday, and I was thinking how many times I've shown this to people over the years, and I almost want to say, oh, I should have started to write down how many times I've received this question. Because sometimes when you think, and if you're a woodworker out there, and you've been doing it for a long time, and you think people, it's obvious, sometimes it's not so obvious. So, as I always say, common sense is not always so common. All right. So as I set this up, and you'll see as I start to rip this, you're going to notice how this board, look, especially when I have this set, look, it's set at 50 millimeters. See that? That cursor, not on the front, but to the cursor, the center. It's set at 50. And same thing with this one. This has a tendency to wobble. So what I like to do, and you know what? I feel like I'm kind of like in that that movie one time I saw that. What state is Missouri, Minnie? The show me state, right?
Right.
Okay, so show me. Sometimes I tell people about things, and then all of a sudden I go, well, wait a minute, let me just show you how it's done. Okay, I've talked through this several times, but I want to show you what I do. I call it backing the board. And this one's for you, Russell, if you're watching. I know you're at the dentist right now, because I know you asked me not too long ago. See this? Watch. See how this is nice and even? Okay, it's the same thickness as the material I'm going to rip. I call it, or we call it, backing the board. See how stable that is now? Now I take it a step further because I'm going to do a couple rips on this. I'll take it like this and I'll lock the board in. See how I have it up against these stops? You can use traditional dogs as well. But I want to get it as stable as possible. So what I'll do is I'll take it a step further and I'll clamp that right there. Just making sure that that's up against there and that one's up against there, and I don't kill it, but I put a little bit of pressure. Okay, so let's rip one and then I'll rip another one, and you'll see how consistent these are. Woo! See how I started forward of the cut? And I'll just make that rip, making sure I'm behind it. So there's the first one. Now, as you rip this, see how I save that? Just like that. I can actually take that, and as I'm going, yeah, I got plenty of support here, but what if I'm still just on that narrow board? I can actually take this and shove this under the board as I'm cutting. So hopefully you're all following this, but as I cut, I put this underneath and keep rotating it through. That way there I can get all these widths out of here exactly the same. So let's make another one. I'm just going to actually take this so you guys can see it. And I'm going to back it just like this. I'll take it like this. I'll lock it in, and then I'll make sure I'm up against here. And you're going to see how these are very, very accurate and consistent. And look how simple this is. It's a simple setup. Once again, check and make the cut. And I'm just going to take that out. I'll show you how this works, just like this. And you'll see even Steven all the way through. And that's how you get perfect 50 millimeter rips all the way through. And you can keep cutting. I cut these yesterday, and you can keep cutting and cutting and cutting. That's how you get your 50 millimeter rips. That's the question that I would get all the time in cabinet class when we were building face frames, or doors and drawers class. How did you start with that? Do you have a table saw here? And no, I do not. I would use the parallel guides to get all my rips. Okay, so just wanted to cover that with you. Now, you see how well that works? That's pine. What I want to do is I want to show you some more setup here. And you can keep going and going and going with this. But I was in Canada once. I'll never forget this. I was in the province of Quebec, and I was at Saint Jerome. And I think it was Murphy who gave me a board exactly like this. This is 5/4. Okay? And he said, hey, I need some turning blanks for the guy down the 4 tenths down. And I said, and somebody in our booth at the time said, oh, we can't do that. And I go, yes, we can. We have the parallel guides. And they had just come out. I think it was like 2009, 2010 here in the States. So I'll show you the operation I did, so maybe it can help you out when you're doing this. I took a quick measurement. I already know what this is, but I want to show you how I do this. I just take my piece like this. See this? Okay, and I know it's 32 millimeter. Okay, but this is an easy way to get a good gauge on it. Okay, and then I'm going to take it just like this. I'm actually going to take this board, bring it in here like this, so you guys can see the setup of this. Okay, and I'm going to take my parallel edge guides here. Woohoo! All right. Now I got to set those up because I'm not taking 50 millimeter stock. I'm doing 32 millimeter stock. So what I have to do, and I'm going to come in here, Chris, I'm going to get right in front of you, and I'm going to take this, because I know it's 32 millimeter. I already know that. And I'm going to bring it right here to 32, and I'm going to bring my cursor in just like this, making sure everything's tight on here. It is. Okay, and bring it right to this, 30, 31, 32, and I'll bring my cursor right in, just like that. So this will allow you to get a really good square turning blank. And that's what we did for those guys who had that lathe company. And they said, man, I never thought you could do that with the Festool system. It's just understanding, like, look how I set this up off the corner. Okay? It's just understanding a few nuances here. And as I rip this one, then I'll put it underneath. Follow me? And let's rip this, because I want to show off a little. I want to show you, this is maple. Okay? And I want to show you with the new blade. It's the 42 tooth blade that comes with the TSC 55 KEB. Okay, I am so impressed with this new saw. Okay, and I gotta set the depth. Okay, so I'm gonna show you a quick tip on setting depth. I'm gonna take it like this, okay, and I'm gonna release it. And I'm going to do this so you get a good angle. See how I just brought it down? This is my depth stop that I'm moving with my finger. Okay, and then I'm going to add about another 16th to cut through. See how I watch. See how I zeroed it down on the MFT, and then I added a couple millimeters. Okay, so there you go. I'm going to bring it right in there. Did you get that good shot of that, Derek? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to check now, because if I go into this maple, okay, that could have kicked on me. So this is why I want to bring it back here. I want to make sure I'm right up against there, and I'm going to make my cut. This is cutting like butter. It's absolutely amazing. Okay, and I always, this is the center of my blade, or the rough center. I always push it all the way so the blade is fully cut, fully through the material. And this is the other thing I want you to see. This is 6/4, 32 millimeter maple, and not a saw blade mark in there. And if I need to make another cut, I would take this, bring it in just like this. And look, see how repetitive that is? Let me just, there you go. And I can just bring it right in there and make that other cut just like that. Okay? Wait a minute. Let's do it. Let's make some turning blanks for the weekend. There we go. And that's the Festool system. Those neoprene strips are holding it underneath. And there you go. And I would just rotate it out like this, once again, underneath, and make that cut. Just like that. I could cut all day, but I want to set these aside. And I think you grasp the concept of turning blanks, because look, they're all 32 millimeter. I can rotate them any way I want. So there you go. Whether you're cutting a leg or you're cutting any stock you need, you can cut it so consistent, repetitive with the Festool system. And that is how you rip narrow stock. And some of you out there may be saying, yeah, I know that. But guess what? There are so many people new to the Festool system that don't know. And I just thought this was a great topic to cover today. And I'm sure I'll do it later next year because we get the question all the time. So in part, this is for all of you out there, but it was also for Russell down in Repair. I got to call you out, Russell, because you're awesome. All right, how we doing, Minnie? Pretty good? Huh?
You know who's here today?
Sparky?
Hank Foreman.
Hank? Donut Hank. Hank, how you doing? How's Ocean Park doing, brah? Good? Good. We miss you. And thank you for being in Providence with us, Hank. We love you, man. What do you got?
Oh, your audio cut out for a second. But you're good.
Oh, it did? I'm back on?
Yep,
okay. Did I come through and saying hi to Hank?
Say hi, Hank, again.
Hi, Hank. How are you? Hank Foreman from Ocean Park, Maine. Cool. All right. I think that's it for today. Is there any questions? I'm sure Brent got most of them, right, man? Yes. Okay. As simple as this was, I'll always say it, it's still a huge question for us here at Festool. And I don't know if it's just the U.S., just Canada, whatever, but I'm glad I had the opportunity to cover it today. All right. So, wow. Hey, I gotta say something really quick. Minnie, I love it when you're in the room with us. Do you know why? You write so many more places than everybody else who does the board. Look at this. This is unbelievable. Wow. Minnie, you're just so good at doing this. This makes my day. It tickles my heart. Okay, everybody, let's call everybody out here. So, we have Selah in Judah from Plainfield, Indiana. We have Julian from Lausanne, Switzerland. We have Warren from Batavia. We have Mike M. from Austin, Texas. Hey, Mike, guess what? I'm in Austin next spring. Annie from Perviges, Belgium. Minnie, how do you say it? Perviges, Belgium. Ian from East Yorkshire, Thousand Islands, New York. You were writing Thousand Islands, New York. Unbelievable. We're talking about blue cheese right before. Okay, David from Ocala, Florida. Victor from New York. Johannesburg, South Africa. This is so wicked cool. Ryan. Hey, Ryan, our RSM from Alabama. Garrett. Is Garrett our RSM too? He is. Garrett Sato. Hey, Garrett, Minnie does a much better job than you, but we love you, brother. DIY Wood. Oh, my God, I can't talk today. DIY Woodworking, Kingman, Arizona. Yakult, Washington. Fenton, Michigan. I think that's Marvin. Bahamas. Riley, Lecce, Italy. Did I say that right? That sounds good. Okay. Mark from Woodcraft, Springfield. How you doing? Bozeman, Montana. Sun City, West Arizona. Stockton, California. Toledo, Ohio. Ritz, Virginia. Randy from Fayetteville. How you doing, Randy? Fayetteville, Georgia. Tom from Zanesville, Ohio. Laz. That's a cool place. Lidingo, Switzerland. Lidingo, Sweden. Not Switzerland, Sweden. Tulsa, Oklahoma. Two Harbor, Maine. Is it Two Harbor or Bar Harbor? Two Harbor. Okay. Whitestone, New York. Wake Forest, North Carolina. Hey, guys, guess who's back? Delaware. All right. Okay. Wow. Bermuda. Jason from Puyallup, Washington. Johnny O from Atco, New Jersey. Eden, New York. Southern California. Tom and Kelly from Eatonton, Georgia. How are you? Charleston, West Virginia. Malta. We know who that is. That's Chris. How you doing, Christopher? We have Kuwait. Kauai, Hawaii. Michael from Edmonton. We have Elk Woodworking from Douglasville, Georgia. Alex Sokolov. We have Belgium. Oh, we got a 2-pack from Belgium. We got Tynesboro, Massachusetts. Am I saying that right? I'm hoping that's Tynesboro, Mass. Halmstad, Sweden. Valdeck, Manchester. Macomb, Michigan. Warsaw, Poland. This is so cool. Somas, California. Dave from Rancho Rio, New Mexico. You're always there with us, Dave. We appreciate it. Paris, Montreal. Oh, Paris, how you doing from Montreal? Okay. Sand Springs, Oklahoma. Market, Bosworth, UK. LA, California. I was just there. Bucharest, Romania. Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Lucas from Poland. Marin from the French Alps. Bloomington, Indiana. Go IU. Castle Rock, Colorado. Anything on the back, Min? No, sir. That's it? Too cool. Hey. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We will be back live next week, next Friday, on Festool Friday at 12 noon, which is an hour back from here, right? Because we're falling back. Okay, so set your clocks. We'll be there. Once again, I say this every time. We love you. Thanks for being there with us. Send your ideas to us, what you want to see. It's not that I don't have a lot, but I do have a lot, but it's not all about us. We want to hear it from you, so send them to us. We love you. And I think Big D, Chris, Minnie, Brent, and Sparky, that's a wrap.